He's representing you and me and all other, his constituents. And I would love to, because people will come and we will keep, at this time we have a dialogue more than rather than just randomly.
That's
right?
good. No,
So
sure.
the people can
Yeah.
come and they're like 10 and 10 and you can talk and I can talk about painting and Phyla can talk.
Yeah.
So I want
Talk about
Rick,
toilet paper.
I want Rick to give you a comprehensive dialogue about free trade and how he is gonna, if he got elected in Congress, how he can implement his, policies towards the fulfillment of this goal.
Very good.
So what happened is in '94 in particular, the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement came in, where we had a free trade zone with Mexico. And so Mexican workers today are paid like $8 a day.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're manufacturing here, and your competitor goes down to Mexico. Up here you're paying $8 an hour. Back then, you're paying $8 a day. All of a sudden, you can't keep your business anymore. And then more and more businesses went to Mexico.
Right.
And what they said when it was passed was that we would have the same labor standards in Mexico as here, so that they'd get really good wages and people would prosper, and then they'd buy our stuff and we'd both buy stuff and everybody would do well. It didn't happen. So the first thing I could do getting elected would be to sponsor legislation that would say we're out of NAFTA. And there's a 6-month get-out clause in NAFTA. And it's very simple, because all we're going to renegotiate trade with is 2 countries then. It would be we'd renegotiate with Canada and we'd renegotiate with Mexico. Which, if the federal government can't do that, then they really shouldn't be there. So we just renegotiate. There's about $25 billion of investment that is about to start or planned in Mexico for car manufacturing. 80% of those cars they want to sell to us. We renegotiate that $25 billion for new car plants comes here. And that would be the beginning. And so that's the shot that we shoot in the air and say, okay, next is the World Trade Organization, which is more of an octopus. And China's in the middle of that. And then we look to renegotiate with the WTO. But we first do NAFTA.
I have a question.
Yes.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I don't know. I'm not a politician or anything, but I do study,
Right.
and I am a man of common sense, right? The bank corporations, they run and control everything. And whoever owns the banks and the people that's incorporated with them, they run and control everything. So in order for us to even get to where we would want to be, how can we stop them? Because I mean, to the point, and fact is, and if anybody don't believe it, they can look it up, research it. People that own the banks and run the bank corporation, they control everything. So we have to put a stop, how can we do that?
So I think what happened in this last election, Bernie Sanders in particular, with his rise in the polls and popularity with his message, from what I was told by Joe Sestak, who was Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are the only 2 U.S. senators who do not take money from the Democrats in Washington, which is tied to corporate influence.
For their campaigns.
Yeah, at all, right. They're completely independent. Elizabeth Warren, because she's very wealthy, but I think also very independent, and Bernie Sanders is because he is independent. And so for somebody like Sanders, who wasn't part of the team, the corporate team that you're talking about, and it's corporate Democrats as well as Republicans, to do as well as he did, even Trump, Trump, I don't know, right? He's all over the place, but but Trump also knocked off the Republican establishment, which is corporate. So I think because of the level that people are fed up with this on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, I think the next Congress is when it can flip, and we as voters can actually win over corporate money. And in this situation, I'm raising very little money by congressional standards. I'm raising enough money to get my message out and to be effective. That's raising a pile of money. For me to knock him off, not only on this message of I'm fair trade and he's free trade, but with very little money and with continuing to work full time because I have to pay my bills like everybody else does, we could give an example that says, hey, look, the corporate power that we thought had a stranglehold on us doesn't. And I think this would be an example of it.
Like you're saying and what he's saying. You got to get your message out. Ain't nobody telling. Your voters don't even know. They're so confused.
There are some. I mean,
you got to know the Americans.
Okay, and what he's saying about the voters, because the average like voters, look, we're gonna take it like
right.
look from the hood. The average voters from the hood, what they taught in school, they're not taught in school to actually, you know, look at this, you know, to watch this. They taught just enough to get by. But then, when people that really are concerned and don't know, I mean, it needs to be brought out to them, and that's the only way.
And that's hard. With less money, it is harder
to get the message across. Yeah, I mean, like my friend here is opening his home to help people understand. But we need more education about what's going on with the country and the trade and everything else.
I'm a proud Democrat, and the Democrats, more often than not, have been on the side of us regular people. And so I think a lot of people know that. If you don't know the difference, you think of, all right, Democrats. If I'm for labor, if I'm for equal rights, if I'm for higher wages, if I'm for environmental protection, that's my party. And so I think in general, I think that's still pretty strong that people see the difference. But the other thing, I mean, when you're talking about corporate stuff, the other thing that surprises me, and Phil, I don't know if you have sensed this too, Republicans see it too. Republicans see corporate welfare, you know, corporate payouts, insider trading. They see it too. Right, exactly. So I think this next Congress is when it can actually begin. I really believe it can actually begin to flip in our favor, depending who we elect.
Well, with people like you, if they come and do more things like this, because look, even though this is a small portion of people here, look, me especially, I'm speaking of, cause look, I served my country, right? I mean, I'm not going to say it turned out well because of how the government is, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get deep into it. I mean, I wasn't treated fair, but that's okay. But I also understand that, like, everybody blame the president for this, the president for that. The president also has a boss. The president has a boss.
Well, there's Congress.
Exactly.
And then there's also
when people like you come and you listen and look and you see and I'm speaking of like real stuff because
that's what he told you, right? The basic reason for bringing him here.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what we appreciate. This is what we appreciate, and this is the stuff that we're concerned about. Well, like even like the
if he got elected, like we will invite him again, and he can address your grievances and all those.
I'm already.
The other thing too, which I think is very exciting, is this fast track legislation, which is trying to allow this trade agreement, which is terrible, to go through very quickly. It only passed by one vote. So I say this a lot. Congress is evenly divided.
Right. So
there are issues that I might be very passionate about, but I know it's not going to change. But this is an issue that can change. And Dent is on one side and I'm on the other. So it'll be a flip. And if it happens here, if it happens in this district, it's going to happen in other districts around the country. This is not going to be just some unique district. And then what that means is that we're going to have a majority. It's going to be almost all Democrats, and then there's going to be probably about 40 or so Republicans that are with the Freedom Caucus. And they'll come together on this issue, and then we'll say goodbye to NAFTA, and then we'll say.
And what he was talking about taxing is free trade or whatever it is called.
See, so what happens? What we're trying to do is that if another country pays people horrible wages and pollutes and does whatever they want and basically exploits people like it used to be here 100 years ago, you can't bring your product into this country without paying a really high tax.
Right, because they spoiling them people that they build
Right.
and whatever. Okay,
Right.
yeah.
And then
That's how we
and
decide.
then what happens is we're the people that everybody wants to sell to. Well, then either it's going to be a country that's similar to us, and also that the other flip side is that their markets have to be open to us. So, like Japan is an example of a country that has our standards of wages and environmental protections, but their market is often closed to us. South Korea is the same way. So it's got to be both, and when
Right.
both of those things are in place,
Okay.
then we can go and look at free trade. But if it's not there, then the tax would be on the product.
But you know it's so hard because this is what makes it so hard. United States, okay, yes, we are a powerful country, a good country. I was born here, I love it. But on the underlying things, I mean, there's issues that where, okay, yeah, we are a powerful country, but in that being true, come on, we have to be. I mean, certain presidents. I ain't, you know.
I felt to see united we stand.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
so divided
yeah,
on
so
everything.
We are so divided.
So you
and,
say,
and it's menial stuff. Menial stuff, but you know what? But it's the menial stuff because of us. That's the peons that's down here in the city. Us, we ain't there, you know, and they don't want to hear what we gotta say.
Yeah.
But this is what we have to
he's
say.
our voice, though.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you are our voice. So
So
what
we
we
want-
have to say is, I mean, it can only be bought through you, pushed through you, and that's why I'm proud. I mean, I'm glad that you are here.
Because I think part of what happened is when NAFTA
Let him, he wanted to say something. Tom, just you
Oh,
can
no,
say
no,
too.
no, yeah, he
When-
can
I'm
go.
just
listening, go ahead.
when NAFTA went in, it first hit the manufacturing jobs of lower skill and moderate skill workers, often factories that were in the cities. Well, now it's like bubbling up. So you're a college graduate and you can't find a job. Air Products is building a factory in China, and they laid off 400 supervisors with white collars because they said they needed 400 supervisors in China. So suddenly, it's affecting more and more people, and they're asking what the heck's going on. So it's not just people that live in the city, now it's affecting all of us.
The one
And-
with the white collar.
Exactly, and all of a sudden, or their kids can't find jobs.
Yeah, but then us at,
Or wages went down for their kids.
but us at the bottom.
Yeah, without the
but
collar.
us, but us